When you were a kid, the GameCube wasn't the obvious choice. It was the weird one, small, purple, with that funny little handle on the back. Next to the PlayStation 2, it almost looked like a toy, and maybe that's why most people walked right past it. Back then, the PS2 was everywhere. It played DVDs, it looked sleek and mature, it had Grand Theft Auto and Final Fantasy X. It was what the cool kids talked about on the playground. The GameCube? That was the thing you owned if your parents didn't want you playing violent games, or if you just didn't care what everyone else thought. And honestly, I kind of loved that. There was something rebellious about choosing the outsider. When everyone else was chasing realism and grown-up graphics, the GameCube doubled down on color, creativity, and fun. It didn't need a built-in movie player or online hype. It just asked you to plug in a controller and play. Who is this I? Anyway, the voice you're hearing right now, that's me, Alexis. I'm speaking for a collector from Germany, someone who lived these memories as a kid. I'm here because her English isn't perfect, so I became the voice that tells her story instead. Wrong voice, real memories, if you want to put it that way. Anyway, let's continue. I still remember walking into the store, staring at that tiny box and thinking, why does it look so different? The discs were smaller, almost cute, like they held secrets only kids could understand. The logo spun like a little puzzle, hypnotic and proud. Even the sound when it started up, that soft, glassy chime, felt like an invitation into another world. And yeah, people laughed at it. They say it was underpowered, childish, too small to matter. But years later, when you hold that controller again, the one that somehow fits perfectly in your hands, you realize something. Nintendo wasn't trying to impress anyone. They were trying to delight you. The GameCube didn't want to be a multimedia machine or a status symbol. It just wanted to remind you how fun games could be when you stopped comparing and started feeling. When you didn't need 4K graphics or online leaderboards to have a good time. When all that mattered was sitting on the floor with your friends, figuring out how to unlock the next Smash character. Nintendo wasn't winning the console war. Developers were leaving. Big franchises skipped the Cube entirely, and even the magazines called it a commercial failure. But for some reason, that didn't stop us. Maybe we didn't care about the sales charts. Maybe we just wanted games that made us feel something. Games that were weird, personal, sometimes even broken, but unforgettable. I remember sitting there, watching those purple discs spin, and realizing, yeah, maybe this console isn't cool. Maybe it's not what everyone else wants, but it's mine. Being a GameCube kid meant getting used to being the odd one out. It meant learning early that popularity doesn't always equal quality. That sometimes the best things in life are the ones that don't win. It's funny how time changes everything. Back then, owning a GameCube made you the odd one out. Today, it makes you the nostalgic one, the one who remembers. Because suddenly, that little purple cube is cool again. Collectors are chasing it. YouTubers are rebuilding their setups. And everyone's talking about how special that era was. The sound of the startup chime, the glossy discs, the click of the lid when it closed. Maybe it hits harder now because we finally understand what we lost. Back then, physical gaming was normal. Memory cards, boxes, manuals, discs that actually belong to you. Today, that feels almost rebellious, owning something, touching it, putting it on a shelf instead of in a cloud. And maybe that's why the nostalgia feels different, because it's no longer just about the games. It's about the feeling of permanence in a world that keeps moving faster. The GameCube reminds us of a time when Nintendo still felt pure, when they made bold, weird, wonderful things and didn't chase trends, they created them. Now we're older, and that little cube that once made us look like losers makes us feel grounded. It's proof that joy doesn't have to be new to be real. That fun doesn't need patches or subscriptions. That creativity can exist in a plastic box with a handle. And maybe that's the real reason it hits different now. Because we don't just see the GameCube as a console anymore. We see it as a piece of who we were. A reminder that even if the world laughed, Nintendo still dared to be Nintendo. And somewhere in that, they taught us something timeless. You don't need to be the biggest to matter. You just need to make people feel.